Well, it's not impossible if this spacecraft came to Earth from an alien civilization.
Wait a minute. You think this is an alien spacecraft?
See, it's not impossible, it's ridiculous.
We think there's an unknown life form on this spacecraft, and that's why you're here.
Sphere is a sci-fi film that takes place underwater with Dustin Hoffman, Samuel L. Jackson, Sharon Stone, Peter Coyote, Liv Schreiber, Queen Latifah, and a few other cast of members as well. I really enjoyed this film. It's a sci-fi based on a novel by Michael Crichton, and it's directed by Barry Livingston. I really enjoyed watching this film a long time ago, back when it first came out, and of course recently, this year, I watched it again. And I remember watching this when I was younger, and it was really creepy. It kind of scared me, kind of freaked me out, because it's a psychological horror film, psychological sci-fi film, where the characters find this sphere on this alien ship, and they're trying to figure out what it does. And there's a question whether or not a couple of the characters have actually walked into the sphere, and they all agree pretty much at the beginning. Samuel L. Jackson's character walks into the sphere. His name is Harry. And then there's a couple of moments where maybe Beth walked into the sphere as well. Maybe Norman did as well. We kind of think they did, but we're not sure. And I thought the film did a pretty good job at editing those moments. I really enjoyed that. Some of the things I didn't like were the part where Samuel L. Jackson's character, Harry, wakes up after he enters the sphere. He eats a breakfast, and his personality is completely different. It's completely different. I kind of wish they could have made that a little more subtle, where there were things off about him that weren't so obvious. But he almost like turns into a different person, and never really explains what he saw in the sphere. And throughout the movie, we learn more and more about what's really going on. There's people who die because of a mysterious jellyfish that show up, and other deep sea creatures show up. And the sphere is this alien thing that pretty much takes people's consciousness or unconsciousness, their dreams or their imaginations, and it makes them the reality. It makes those things come true. And I thought that was a really good story element, and the sphere is an object that kind of puts a physical location as they think about these things. And it could be used as a metaphor for other things in real life, but within the context of this movie, it's these scientists who are down there who are intelligent, who seem like they have a good characteristic story and things like that. And what happens is they think of these things to harm each other, or they don't think they're going to live, so they create these scenarios where all of them are about to die. And the story is kind of about how people's imaginations can manifest into real action. And that's the real danger. That's the real danger, is our imagination of what could happen, our imagination of certain scenarios based on fear, and the destruction that can come from it. Or you could say maybe the alien used that mental world that people have, the imagination world, and used it against these scientists in this story and to cause destruction. But whatever the case, I thought it was a really unique way to tell a sci-fi story and an alien story. A story you could think about for a while and try to figure out the ins and outs. I just really enjoyed that kind of whole aspect of it. Now, there's some backstory with Dustin Hoffman's character Norman and Sharon Stone's character Beth. I think he was a teacher and she was a student, and they fell in love. I thought that storyline kind of wasn't necessary. I kind of wish they could have created a different storyline that was kind of weird. They didn't really go into that, but there's a couple moments in the movie where that kind of played a part of the stressful situations. They get in a few arguments. They're they don't trust each other, and as an audience member, you're not sure what's going to happen. If one of them's the bad guy, who's the good guy. So that was kind of interesting to see throughout the movie. But I kind of wish the backstories of all the scientists were, I don't know, a little more solid instead of dramatic, I guess. I mean, there's already a lot of drama with the alien sphere, but overall, I still enjoyed the movie. There's some cheesy parts. There's a few parts where it's like, I don't know, that's kind of unrealistic. I mean, how could they swim over there to that fast? How could they survive this? The underwater ship is like damaged. How can they still survive? There's a few things like that which kind of make it unbelievable, and it turns into, I mean, it's very much a mix of a action movie and a sci-fi and a horror. But it's mixed pretty well. But I mean, there's a few things they probably could have done better. But hey, they did what they did. Sphere came out in 1998. I enjoyed this movie. I'm going to give it a 8.01 out of 10. Check it out or not.